It's Chris and Brian here from Resolve Technology, and today Chris wants to talk about the new 24H2 update for Windows 11, some of the little gotchas, and whether or not you should go ahead and update your Windows 10 or current Windows 11 to 24H2. So 24H2 is just this year's yearly update, right? So last year, it was 23H2. This year, it's 24H2. So tell us a little bit about it, Chris.
So yeah, I've been running it since our last video when we showed some of the new features off. I've run into a few issues because this computer has an Intel processor. Certain applications hang up, mostly Electron apps. So your things like Discord, Teams. Teams is an Electron app, I don't think, but various collaborative applications where you might have a microphone and using audio, I notice issues with. But there is also this Learn Microsoft link, the release health, and they go over some of the issues. Like we're seeing reports that blue screens of death, if you have Intel's SST, which is integrated audio, which would handle audio, voice, speech, maybe some laptops have that. You could try updating the driver, and then certain programs, certain video game anti-cheat, wallpaper customization application, safe exam browser application might fail to open. So this isn't just your typical update. I don't remember having any issues with 23H on any client workstation going from 22H2 to 23. But they've made some significant changes to the under the hood, like it supports Wi-Fi 7, and we've gone over some of the changes. But Brian, maybe you want to touch on the Copilot Plus features and some of the insights you had.
Not really, because I think Copilot Plus is a different video. But one of the things that I did notice about Copilot Plus is I'm seeing more and more news about it. Microsoft is really pushing that hard. So basically, we've done videos in the past, but it requires you to have a certain type of machine with certain hardware in order to be Copilot Plus compatible. So that's not most of our clients. They're not just going to throw out their existing machines to make sure that they're Copilot Plus compatible. So I really need to see some mind-blowing features, and our clients will too, in order to upgrade to that type of hardware. I think a lot of it is all the AI stuff that's coming out. So for some clients, that maybe you get productivity features that make it worth the upgrade.
I see it replacing like an old Microsoft Surface or something, because it's got like a Snapdragon. So the manufacturer that it has for the processors on it, it's more of a mobile. You might see it on a laptop, tablet, phone. So I don't know if it's going to replace the traditional desktop, CAD workstation, things like that. However, the feature set seem to be aiming that way. So I don't know. I don't really understand what direction they're going in as it relates to that, but it's up in the air.
Yeah, more of like designers. It seems to me like it's more not your typical office worker, but more like design type people and things like that. Because one of the new features that I noticed came out was the Microsoft Paint program that comes free with Windows 11, and it's been around for years. Now you can do some funky removing backgrounds by clicking a couple buttons or whatever, things like that. Not applicable to most regular information workers.
Yeah, I'm assuming you're going to be able to do that through a browser too. There's going to be some kind of competition on what Microsoft's offering. They're not the only game in town.
They did mention that Apple's got their own versions, and Microsoft is competing with Siri. Microsoft used to have Cortana, but now they're going to be calling it Copilot Voice. This is part of the Copilot Plus program. So yeah, there's it's always like this, right? Apple's doing this, so we got to compete. Meta has, what was the thing that they really didn't go very far? The goggles. And so they're always
Microsoft will have 9 names version of it, so it'll be Copilot Plus.
So right now it's not applicable for our clients, but we keep our eye on this stuff just to see if there's anything that is applicable, because our clients are mostly worried about being more productive, and it's the typical office workers. Can they get their job done faster? If they can, then the new PC will make sense if it's going to give them this extra productivity kick. Go ahead.
The few clients we have that use Copilot for Microsoft 365, they've been getting it, but they're not sure that they need it. And we've been making it a point of emphasis to say, hey, you're going to be locked in for a year, though. You can't come back a month from now and say, hey, let's cancel this. There's some overhead cost to it. But most people think they want the new shiny thing, but they don't actually know if they need it yet in terms of productivity.
Right. And they don't know how to really use it. So, yeah. Go ahead and talk about the templates that you're going to have to download if you make changes.
So if you you deal with GPOs, like group policy, if you have any devices on your network, I don't know how backward compatible they are. I just remember whenever there's an updated major release of Windows, usually that involves downloading a new set of policy template, which are all your built-in Windows features, scheduled tasks, any kind of built-in Windows group policy you may use. You may need to download the latest administrative template. Now you can do that directly from Windows. Alternatively, I could just come under C Windows policy definitions and just copy this whole folder off of a device running Windows 24.
That's more technical stuff for if any IT people are watching. But you're looking at the 23H2. There's actually a 24H2. I just sent you the link to that one.
Oh, let me grab it.
That's the one that comes with this that you're going to need to update. It's in the Teams chat, Chris.
Oh,
just
I got
click on the link. That's the one you're going to need to download the reference spreadsheet, and you'll get the new. You'll just match it up against the old one and make sure you have all the new group policy settings. But that's more technical stuff for your IT people.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, was there anything else you want to add about the 24H2? Other than for us, I think we're holding off a few more weeks to see what happens. Yeah. But what else do you want to mention about that?
I'm usually pretty quick to upgrade. Brian would say I go a little rogue on them and I'll just download the latest one. I would hold off on this. I don't, from what I've seen, at least on custom hardware, how a Dell Optiplex or Precision Tower respond is entirely different, but there's been enough change. Like maybe we wait until this, because it's only testing Windows Insiders and they're doing that slow rolled out release. There's not enough exposure to what programs or what drivers or what software may be impacted.
Basically, you're a guinea pig. You're on the Insiders build. You're a guinea pig. And Chris has seen a couple blue screens here and there. Again, it depends on a lot of different factors. Chris says he's running Intel, but he's running a certain high-speed chip of Intel. So don't be concerned. Like most of the Intel chips are going to be fine. So we got to say that. We got to make that disclaimer.
Just the unlocked.
Right. So we got to remember, Chris is a little bit on the cutting edge here. Like my machine that I run day to day, it's a lot slower, but it's also like more standard what you see out there, what our clients would run. And that stuff typically runs well when Microsoft pushes stuff out. They generally, we don't see a lot of problems with the bog standard stuff. When you go to the cutting edge type of hardware and things like that, you're going to see problems, right? Which you would think logically it doesn't work that way. Like fast chip should run better, but that's not always the case. It's usually like the middle of the road stuff that works better.
So I have an XPS running it, a few issues still. So that's like my little test. But yeah, like Brian said, I have an AMD chip, Intel chip, both NVIDIA graphics card, but different memory manufacturers, different motherboard, so different audio drivers, different this. So even though they're two nearly equal custom builds, it's a completely different experience on one versus the other. Even if you have a pre-configured Dell Precision having issues, your Optiplex might not, because it's using the onboard graph. There's so many variables to components.
So the long story short is, the business owner, you may hold off on this. And what you should do is test it on a small sample size, 1 or 2 if you're a small business, and then roll it out to your others. If they're all pretty much the same machines, then you can roll it out to the others. That way you're safe and you're not taking your whole network down. All right, we'll end it there, Chris. Hey, thanks a lot for showing us that.
Have a good one.